Welcome to the Outer Realms with Michelle.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live via the International Public Radio right here on United Public Radio Network 105.3 FM from, of course, the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing folks over at Folgers Coffee who have been with us from day one. Also, Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Stick, the Sonic Surgeon. I love that. Anyway, what a handle. Award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music. Perfect for this time of the year, of course, Halloween. And he is available on Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and most streaming platforms. So we thank him for his generous contribution to the show. And tonight, guys, we are flying solo again. Our guest has just gotten her power back and no internet. So we thought it might be fun to kind of do a Halloween Q&A, talk about pros and cons, because everybody, thinks Halloween is woo, and it is. For some of us, it's a year-round thing. But, there are things to do, things not to do, and if you're going to do them, you should do them properly. So
yeah,
leave that right there. So that's about it.
Good. How are you? I'm actually ready for next week to end because this continues on through the first week of November. This does not stop on Halloween because people are out at Halloween. They're investigating this week and it lands on a Sunday. So it couldn't be better for you, not for families. I think it's fantastic. It's a great time for families, and with it not having hygiene, not having to worry about the pandemic, more kids will be out there, which is really great. Trick-or-treating, and parents don't have to rush home. But anyways, point being, we know that you're out there doing things and trying things. And yes, we know that you'll be contacting us for assistance.
It's already starting, actually.
So Michelle's going to talk about what you should and shouldn't do so you don't need to contact her. Just saying.
It's already starting. I've already been getting, messages and emails, and some of it's from like investigators also. And it's just like, well, you guys should kind of know what you're doing. And why am I hearing from you guys?
Yeah.
And a different, of course, when they have somebody that they're, I mean, there are some great people out there who are just like, yeah, it's not my thing. I'm not really versed in this. So they'll put it off, and I'm happy to do it. But when you have researchers who are going to locations and they're not, taking proper care, and they're coming back with attachments of their own, it's like, A, what are you doing? Or B, it's just an extra hot zone. You didn't expect it. I don't know. But I'm really more concerned about people this time of year who, I mean, let's face it, we all get into the mindset of Halloween. We want to go out. We want to experience everything. And there's places that open up, for investigations or tours. There's a lot of private, or public tours that you can go on. I always highly recommend when people want to dabble a little bit in the paranormal or just sort of dip their toe, they're not quite sure what to expect, because I've done a lot of tours and events, and I think it's great. I say, connect up with people of like minds, get yourself into somewhat of a controlled environment with somebody who's sort of leading the way and directing you what to do. I mean, there are some people who are better at it out there than others. And, if they do it right, they're going to, tell you a little bit about maybe how to protect yourself or how to ground yourself or what to expect on the tour. It's not just, hey, let's just walk about and see what happens, but unfortunately, people don't always either pay attention or they like going into places on their own and they really don't know what they're doing. You have parents who really want to do something with the kids, and some places aren't really child friendly.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that too. I'm not one in particular who thinks children should be at an investigation, but some people, your child, and they'll say, what? Folgers. Yeah, I did it when you mentioned it.
I know. I'm always so busy, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no, I left it up when you mentioned it
No,
because
for me.
I saw, yeah. But, I I don't know, like, I've heard people say, "Oh, but Amelia, I know my kid, and they really know it, and they're really." I know adults that really know it and are really mature and can't
Right.
handle it. You have to think of the worst case scenario and then picture that with your child. Is that
Mm.
something that you want to risk? It doesn't mean it's going to happen. Absolutely not. But there is a chance, depending on where you are, what's happening, what you're doing,
Well,
how
kids are
you're
magnets. They
communicating.
see everything.
They
So
see everything
they're,
and they're walking
mm,
beacons of light,
mm.
and I don't know, with children, I'm very, very protective, but adults is a different story. They're making their own decisions. A child can't make a decision to vote at 12 years old. Why would you put them in an abandoned building or something that might have a malevolent infestation? I don't
Well,
see that being smart or wise,
playing devil's
actually.
advocate, though, just because a place is abandoned doesn't make it haunted. This is
No.
a really big thing. It's different if you're getting into urban exploring, like that's sort of a different cup of tea. But not that you should be breaking into places and doing it, just saying. I'm not advocating that at all. But there
No.
are some places that, you know, when I would do tours or events, people would ask me, is this okay for families? I would say yes, because I make it okay for families. I would have
Yeah,
people say, can you come to, my child's birthday? And I thought this is really cool, or, can we host a birthday party, and would you do a child friendly version of a tour? I said,
that's
yes.
different.
Yeah, it was very,
Hi,
very
Dolly.
controlled. Hey,
Yeah,
Dolly, but sometimes
that's
people get
different.
wrapped up in the whole Halloween thing, and I am usually, again, all for it. Now, there are places that are, let's say, fabricated haunted houses. Wayne used to do them, like,
I love
amazing.
those, and I'll go
Oh,
to
they're
one where I have
fun.
to sign a release because
Yeah.
I'm not I don't have fear per se, but I startle so easily, I
Yeah, of
will
course.
pee myself, like, seriously.
Right,
But
right.
I love that feeling, but
Mm.
I just and you can't bring children into those either. There's 18 and up on a lot
Yeah.
of those.
Never come out, just not be right again. But
Yeah,
no, but
well, I like to know that there's an exit at one level. That's all.
hey, Billy. No, for sure. But
Yeah.
again, you're falling into the whole Halloween thing. And sometimes people go out on their own and they're like, okay, we're going to go look for ghosts. The veil is thinner. Well, it's a theory for sure. We know things amp up a little bit. Absolutely. I know because I'm getting more messages. I'm thinking, all right, that's a
Mm.
little bit different. Hey, Corinne. And
Hi,
it's
Corinne.
almost like, people like to throw caution to the wind this time of year, whereas maybe not any other time of the year. They might go into the same locations, but for some reason, Halloween, it's like, no, it's a free for all. Let's just do it. And what can potentially happen? Well, if you're wide open to it and you're not taking proper precautions, or you're going to locations that were normally, let's say they're not normally open to the public any other time of year, but they open up for October to bring people in, especially, the week of Halloween. And, you know, you're heading in there, you're not really thinking about it. Some people don't even really expect to get an experience, and they
Yeah.
walk out with more than they bargained for.
I think a lot of places people go sorry, let me start that again because like I got brain fog today. It's been a crazy week. It feels like it's felt like Sunday for me all bloody week.
Right.
But anyways, I think the most popular place that people will go and perhaps take their children more often than not is to cemeteries at night, the older cemeteries, and
Mm.
try that whole spook factor. And I think, you know, you probably have a better chance. Things do happen at older cemeteries, and I think you should go in there with a great amount of respect, first of all, and that's a whole other segment. But to start off with, I think that's okay. It's safe in the physical sense because abandoned places can be very dangerous. You can fall through the floors, things can fall on you. There's a reason. But if for me, when I was saying I don't believe in taking young children, is when it's something that you know is malevolent, has a history of malevolence, you know?
If it's
It's a
yeah.
little bit different for me because I feel like there's so many things you don't need your child to see. We always speak
Hey,
of,
Joshua.
"Hi,
Hey, Amy.
Joshua. Hi, Amy.
Mhm.
Hi, Billy." I think that we don't want them to see violence. We don't want to see them all this stuff. We don't want them to see history, yet we're gonna take them into something that has a history of demonic
But
infestation. It's like,
you don't always know that
no, no, I'm
either,
saying if you
so
see something that is
yeah, I
commercialized
mean,
that
I think
way.
it's up to people to have due diligence and common sense. It's like, "Nah,
Yeah.
let's not take the kids there." It's like, I can't tell you how many parents have thought, "Oh," because they don't believe in it, so they don't think anything of taking their kids there and buying them all this equipment, and, "Yeah, have some fun, nothing's gonna happen," and then, "Hey, Melanie," and then stuff happens.
Yes.
Like, I
Yeah.
remember when I was doing the tours and the events up at Casa Loma, a lot of children did it.
That's a different location. It's beautiful too.
I designed the entire program to be family friendly for all ages.
Mhm.
And I remember this cutest little girl who had seen me on television, and I thought, "What are you, like 6? What are you watching?" You know? And she came 2 different times a year apart. Her mother brought her, and she sort of, came to me and she goes, "Oh, she's seen you on," because I've actually consulted and done like children's shows also. And she saw me on one of the shows, and she came up to me and ran in my arms and gave me this huge hug and wrapped her arms around me, and I'm like, "I love you." You're just so
I'm
freaking
taking
cute.
you home. Yeah.
Oh my
Love
gosh,
kids.
right? My she
Yeah.
was, "I am your biggest fan." I'm like, "Oh my gosh," it just makes it so worth it. And
Yep.
a year later, she returned and peeked around a corner, and it was a surprise to see her, and I looked, and she put her arms out. So I put my arms out, and she ran up to me, and this child did the whole tour with me while their mother walked in the back.
Mhm.
And at one point in the tunnel, it was just full of water. At the castle, they have an
Yes.
800-foot tunnel for those who aren't familiar. And she looked at me and she says, "Michelle." I went, "Yes." She goes, "You cannot expect me to walk through that water with my new boots." I was like, "All right then." And I picked her up and carried her across,
Yeah.
my stilettos are going across. And it was just a lot of fun. And so you can go places and you
Yeah.
can have a lot of fun, healthy fun,
Yep, but you have
but
to look for it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't do it.
yeah,
I wish there
absolutely.
was more family-friendly programs like that
Yeah.
because I don't think that you should dismiss a child's interest in the paranormal. There's so many reasons for it. We don't know
Well, they
if
see
they're gifted,
stuff.
if they're that,
Yeah,
if they're old
exactly.
souls or they're living a past life. You
Exactly.
could be healing some trauma and not even realize that.
It's true.
Again, another show. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I just believe that if it's 18 and up, don't try and sneak your 13 or 15-year-old because you think they're more mature. I don't think you should do that. There's a reason why. There's many reasons why. It's not even just that. It could just be dangerous. It could just be a
Mhm.
legality issue, an insurance issue. Don't
Cemeteries
please
too,
don't
though.
push it.
Don't sell it short. When
Cemeteries,
when
yeah.
when when we did a ghost tour, we had permission from the cemetery and the church that was on that property to do tours there. You
Mhm.
can't just go roaming around in it. Believe it or not, there are some cities and municipalities that actually monitor that stuff. They don't like it because of vandalism. There's a lot of
Yes.
places that get vandalized. I remember doing
So
an
sad.
article for a magazine called Ghost Magazine a long time ago, and I come across an abandoned cemetery that had been vandalized, and literally the forest grew right up through it. You could walk through the forest, and you would walk into a big headstone. Like, it was unbelievable. And
Mhm.
so I,
Nice.
I sent all my pictures in for them because they were doing a really big article, and I thought, oh, I'd be happy to do that. But you know, it's not all like that. It really isn't all like that. And some locations are geared to families, some aren't. We've established that. So if it's not, then you have to think to yourself, okay, it could potentially even be dangerous for you. people, they just don't think it can happen.
There,
I've seen all kinds of stuff happen. And for God's sakes, do not bring something back from certain locations. You should not bring certain things back from really
oh
haunted
my
locations.
gosh,
Sometimes I get
no,
real ornery about stuff like that. And I
that's wrong.
cannot tell you how many people I've helped through the years who have brought something back with them from a haunted location.
Even churches, don't bring them back from these old churches. I know people that have stones from churches. Like, I mean, like stones. I'm like, what are you doing? That's part of the building. That's part of
Yeah,
the
it shouldn't
history.
be
Like,
like, yeah, yeah.
yeah, you should be leaving
Treat
that.
everything
No,
with
I did
respect.
this
Yeah,
and I did that. Oh, I don't care about your
yeah.
safety. My concern is all
Right.
about what you took from the people,
Yeah.
But I'm always going to speak up for the spirits first. But anyways,
Right, right,
I
right.
just and you have to know there's a reason even with the fabricated haunted houses, there's a reason for those waivers because if you have any health condition, you could have a stroke or a heart attack just by being startled.
Okay,
So
so
keep
what
that in mind as well.
so you're dealing with like, Wayne and I were talking about this because I'd like to actually do a show based on the differences. And I think we might do it down the road sometime, between a real haunted house and a fabricated haunted house. Because you have that fear factor, but they're a little bit different,
Yeah, startle.
So yeah, I mean, when you have something that's designed to instill the fear factor, you kind of expect it that something's going to come around from some corner and wait for it. It's going to happen. But when you're in a real haunted house, and this one's no different. This is not a malevolent haunted house.
No.
But there have been times through the years where I walk into a room and the door swings open in front of me. It's like,
Yeah, you're startled.
I
It's
did
a startle.
not
It's
expect that
different
to
than
happen.
yeah.
The
And
startle factor.
your home would be perfect for a family-friendly experience because we do know what exists there and we know what is like it makes a big difference, right? Okay, I
Exactly.
see question. I need the
Yeah.
glasses because this is an old lady here.
Mm.
Joshua, what about a family cemetery, especially one that your family is connected to? Are you psychic? Because I was just going to say that. I was just going to ask Michelle. You must be psychic, Joshua. Seriously. I was just going to say it might be a good idea to do that maybe just during the day and see how they react before putting them into that whole fear mode of the dark night and the fog and the little lights and everything, right?
Oh,
So thankfully, big cemeteries, I think with family cemeteries that are newer, you're going to find the gates closed when it's
well,
past a certain
you also,
time.
you also have to think about this theory. Um, I've often had people say to me, "Why don't we see newer spirits?" And as opposed to Victorian spirits or older spirits, there's different reasons for that, which would explain as to why you might find one in a cemetery now. You don't really there's not that many hauntings. I think in newer days, I won't say there's not that many hauntings. They're not as uh, heard of, I guess, as the older spirits. Older spirits, let's face it, life was harder. They were God-fearing people because religion was really instilled in people back then. We didn't have the education with respect to, let's say, internet or miles of books available to all these communities that could explain things like this going on. You had the family secret. We all grew up with that. The family secret. Don't tell
Uh,
anybody. To think we're all nut jobs, right? So it's like,
yeah.
okay, hey, Richard.
Hi,
But
Richard.
things happened. So nowadays you do have the internet, you do have television shows, you do have documentaries. There's more at hand for people to be educated in this sort of thing.
Mhm.
And I think even religious institutions, churches, organizations are a little bit more open about stuff like this now than they were then, so they'll talk about it a little bit more. People are not as God-fearing as they were back in the day. So
Mm.
let's get back to the family cemetery. um, if you have a lot of newer people in there, it's possible that, again, they're just not going to react the same way. Number one. Number two, why would you just hang out with your body? What you usually find in cemeteries, and some of the ones that I have come across because of the tours, we had people who were looking for their significant others there,
Mhm.
thinking they were going to find them. And sometimes it's because the land predates the cemetery, or the land may have been donated by a certain family. So there's a bit of a connection there. But realistically speaking, what you find in cemeteries are things that feed off of the grieving people who go in. So you usually have interdimensional beings, maybe demonics, maybe things like that, malevolent beings that want to feed off of that energy. Because people go there to grieve. They go there to spend time with their loved ones.
Yeah.
Spirits on average can go anywhere they want. So if they're going to hang around the body, they're usually going to do it because they don't realize they're dead. And in some cases, trying to get back in. After a while, it's kind of like, okay, it's in the ground. I can't get in there. And they start putting two and two together.
But if they're ascended, they're not going to go back.
Well, they won't be there, no, at all. I mean, they might be there if their loved one is there, like for a little bit, but realistically, you could probably communicate with them a lot easier going to a place that they really loved a lot, as opposed to being at a cemetery.
Although if you're very, it's very important for you or your faith or your belief to communicate with them at a cemetery, it might be a good idea to let them know ahead of time that you're going.
Yeah, there we go.
You know, and be careful because mimics are everywhere.
You have these beings
Yeah.
that want to feed off of that, and it's really important because they can latch on pretty easily. Well, hi, Amy. I want to go back to a comment that Corinne made before we get too deep into things, because
she does this every year, and I love it. She puts a post every year.
I post things about stuff like that also. It's really important.
Oh, hello, ladies. It's getting closer to All Hallows Eve. Make sure everyone keeps their four-legged friends safe and inside. Amelia and Michelle, we don't want them spooked. We don't want them spooked. We don't want them hurt or stolen. Or stolen. You don't know what someone's going to do with them. Not everybody's a good person.
No, exactly.
So do you get some people who get a little bit weird and they want to use your cat as a sacrifice? So be aware,
especially black cats. Stop it.
Oh,
with the black
cats. Yeah,
honestly,
they need to. They're so beautiful. Really, stop.
They are. Stop it. I'm just gonna say that.
I had a Persian when I was younger. Yeah, just stop. Please stop.
Lots of black cats. So stop it with the black cats.
I'm more afraid of Faye than I think. You and me both, Joshua. We are really connected, man. You and me both. Yeah.
They're very aggressive.
I've had one experience only, and it was a flash, and I had to second guess what I saw, and I never want to see it again. That's all I'm saying. I never want to see it again. And it was like right in front of me at the Mount Hope Airport. Never want to see that again. Yeah.
No.
It was supposed to be there for a lesson with one of my mentors, and it was all on Faye, Jinn, all those kinds of things. He's very, very well versed. He's incredible. And we were there, and he thought, well, we're the best and safest place for you, because I was actually under psychic attack at the time by someone. And I won't give names because you'll all know this person. But anyways, no drama. So anyways, it's long past, long gone. Everything's healed. But anyways, I was under psychic attack. And the best place, he said, to be was where there was EMF groundings for planes, because nothing could penetrate through, which was true, which was absolutely true. Mm-hmm. So anyways, yes. Yes. Yeah, it's always fun when somebody doesn't like you and they're also psychic. It's a lot of fun.
You're welcome, Corinne. Let me tell you though, when you can move energy, it's not hard to shove it back. And
I know how to do that, but you want to
stick it to them pretty good.
You do, but you pay a price as well. So I try to stay away from that. But I'm going to tell you, if you're really loud in a restaurant, you do not want to be sitting anywhere near me. Hi, Bradley. You do not want to be sitting anywhere near me. You're going to be leaving really early. Bradley says, hello again. Hello again, Bradley. Have you ever heard of a keeper spirit of a cemetery and a spirit that oversees the whole cemetery? Yes, when you were on. Yes. You told us about that, but we'll talk about that again.
Yeah, not just cemeteries. There's a lot of locations like that, watchers of all types. It's interesting though.
They have them at Battlefield Park, Stony Creek.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot
of different places. Yeah. Different entrances there.
But they're not always spirits.
Botanical Gardens has them too.
Mm,
Royal Botanical Gardens has them.
and a horse. Just so you know. Yes. There's a horse buried there too.
I saw a horse there once, but I'm pretty sure it was real.
Right. Well, there's a horse actually buried at the Royal Botanical
Oh,
Gardens.
really?
Yeah, because the family that owned that whole land, he was a racehorse. He died. He made them all kinds of money.
Oh,
So they buried him. There's a huge headstone there.
how
They buried him
beautiful.
there in honor of
Beautiful.
because of him was this land and the donation of the RBG in Burlington.
Beautiful.
People, you guys could go check it out. And it is haunted.
Yes, it is.
Ooh,
I've been to a
haunted.
few things there. You know what else is haunted and I never knew? I went on a school trip with my daughter when she was little for Christmas at Dundurn Castle, and I was like, what in the F is going on in here?
I
I
know,
didn't think
Dundurn
anything of
Castle.
it because it's so small. I was
I
like,
know.
but it's so funny because people who live here, when I moved here from Toronto, would always say, oh, it's like Toronto's Casa Loma. No, it's not.
It's really small, but you know what? It packs a punch. Yes, Kayla. I don't know about if they have a horse or not, but I can tell you it's
I don't
pretty
know. They
loaded
do
with
have the
spirits.
stables and they do have the
They do have the
carriage there
stables, so
in
it's
the
very
front,
possible.
Kayla.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they
true.
do have
Yeah.
it there. But I would always laugh like it was the same line with Hess Village. It's just
Mhm.
like Hazelton. No. But anyways, it's okay. The cities are different. It's okay to be different. That's what makes you special.
Mhm.
But no, Dundurn is very small. You can get through it in no time. Casa Loma is a whole undertaking. It's
Casa
different.
Loma has a horse, and
Yeah.
I will tell you guys a story about Casa Loma. This story was always held back because, and I'm going to say it now because it's completely irrelevant because it's under different management and everything else, and the curators are no longer there. There was a story that they wanted to see if the mediums would pick up. This is how they would tell who the real mediums were. So there was a story that one of Sir Henry's guests had stolen a horse from the stable. Now, those who knew the story of Casa Loma, Sir Henry had a ton of horses. He built a stable that cost $250,000 back in the early 1900s, pre-World War I.
That's over $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well
And the
over.
tunnel went from there to the castle while it was being built. And there was another tunnel from the hunting lodge that he stayed in that went to the stables. And there was a third tunnel that a lot of people aren't aware of that I was invited to see when they found the entrance to it under Sir Henry's office in the library. There you go. A little tidbit for you guys. But this story was one of his guests had come to the castle, taken one of the horses. I think he might have been one of those. And allegedly took the horse through the stables now, or through the tunnel. And we're trying to figure out how he got the horse down into the tunnel. But apparently the story says he did. And people could hear this man on a horse. And I think the horse crushed him. And there was a fatality. So we do have, and it was apparently buried and hidden. And this is something that I had picked up when I first went there. And when I was asked to represent them in a paranormal way, and I was given the whole story by the curator. So it too has a horse because people have heard it. So
And I just want to say Dundurn is a gorgeous, beautiful castle.
it is. It
And
really is.
and at Christmas time it's stunning. If it's
Yeah.
open and you have the opportunity, you live nearby the city of Hamilton, downtown Hamilton, please go because they do a beautiful job decorating it. It just
They
smells
do
amazing
tours,
in there.
everything.
They do. I just don't know with everything going on right now if they're
Yeah.
doing it.
They
And
used to
Tamara
give you
said,
cookies. They would
yes,
bake them in the kitchen downstairs, and they
yeah,
would
we
give you
got them
cookies
when
to
we were there.
sample. Yeah,
Of
ginger
course,
snap.
I'm going to find them because
I
I eat
know.
everything. But Tamara said the stairs is a butler. The lion is outside at the
Torturing
back
yourself.
of Dundurn Castle. Dundurn Castle is such a stunning location in the
It
city
is.
as well, right on the water. It's absolutely beautiful.
And for those who don't know, there is a connection to Camilla Parker Bowles / wife of Prince Charles.
Mm-hmm. That kitchen
It's
is
her
where I had
family.
my first experience.
A lot of people
I
had their
had one
first
there too. The
experience there.
kitchen, yes. And tell
Yes.
me, Kayla, was that the cooks? Did you see the cooks? I had the butler and I had a short, heavy set woman
But
who
the
I think was
oldest
probably
part
a
of the
cook.
castle is right around the corner, down in the basement from the kitchen. It's where they would the coal storage, and I believe they had like an armory or something down there,
They
like
took us there.
gunpowder. And
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that was because
exactly.
of the
Yeah,
school. But that was also
yeah,
the place where I went in and the dolls, the room with the dolls.
yeah,
Remember I told you that story?
yeah, yeah.
Can I share it?
Yes,
Okay,
Halloween
so
stories. Let's
it's
do it.
Halloween stories.
I
There's
love
so
this.
many of
Everybody's
them. And
sharing
this
their
one,
experiences.
yeah, this is beautiful. And this is, you had the butler when working serving dinner there. Yes. I think
Yeah,
he might even be residual because a lot of people talk about him. Kayla, she was stirring the pot. Yes, definitely. It's really, but it's so warm and loving. It's not that
no, it is.
horrific
It's
kind of thing.
nice.
It's like,
It's a nice
oh,
feeling.
you caught a moment in time, like that's a gift. So I was there with my daughter. My daughter might have been about grade one, I believe it was. And so anyways, who was there with her, and we were upstairs, and of course I was in charge of a group of little girls, right? So we're in one of the daughter's rooms, and there's a room off of the bedroom, and it's like a play area where there was a little cradle and there's all these porcelain dolls and everything, and I'm in the room and I heard mama come get me,
Oh,
and I turned around and I'm looking for my daughter and I'm hearing giggles and laughter. Come play with me.
wonder
Come play
that's a
with
little
me. And I'm
boy.
like, come on, girls, we have
Yeah.
to leave. We have to go downstairs now. There was nobody in that room. That's all I'm going to say. There was no one in that room. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, for the love of God, right? Because that one just kind of,
It's
because I
nicely
heard
haunted.
the girls playing together. Come play with us. We
Yeah.
have the dolls. Look at all the dolls. They're so pretty. Do you love our dolls?
But you see, this is one of those places that you could go as a family
Yes,
and,
that is
and, and get
definitely it.
experience. I mean, we've all done the school groups there. I paid to send an entire classroom there.
Yeah.
It's just,
Fun. It's a lot of
oh,
fun there. And
absolutely,
they're
absolutely.
learning so much, and it's a different experience. It's a
It
loving
is.
experience.
Mhm.
Figures right in the middle.
It's like, what?
Moment.
No, it's true. It is a
Right?
really pleasantly haunted location. Casa Loma, well, they don't like
Yeah.
to talk about it too much anymore. They try to just pretend it doesn't exist, but it exists.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of people have had experiences there. You can't discount it, but there are two examples of places that you can go any time of the year,
Mhm.
not specifically for haunted stuff, but you could go and have an experience.
Oh, go at Christmas. It's stunning.
Here's
Both
something people
locations.
don't realize. Across from Casa Loma, over 300 people were hung. So sometimes brides, and this is what I was told from somebody who was working at Casa Loma who knew what I did. Sometimes brides will go there to have pictures taken, looking all nice with your wedding party. You got a hanging guy behind you. That has happened a few times. One of them, I think, even I don't think it hit the newspaper. There was a different one that hit the newspaper of a woman looking out the window right at the front door, and she was captured in the picture. But there have been a couple that have had a hanging guy because across the street, there were over 300 hangings at one point.
Oh, there's so many haunted places here.
Oh gosh, yeah. I've been to
All right.
Ruthhaven. I've been. It's a great place. Okay.
Whitehearn, is that what it was
No,
called?
Whitehearn's a different one.
No, I'm saying, is it called Whitehearn? I was there for wedding photos. I was in a wedding party.
Yeah,
And
it's beautiful.
it was this time,
Yeah.
because it was like the 1920s. So it was this time of October.
Mhm.
We were freezing and taking photos outside. And I said, oh, there's a man watching us from the window by the door, the side light.
Right.
And the man, here's like, there's nobody in the building. I go, yeah, there's a gentleman watching us take these photos. He's smiling. And he's like, no, Amelia, that building's been closed since September 1st. I'm like, what?
Nice.
But I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, let me catch up with all these comments. So Dolly said, my weird demon experience was a rainy night on way home from an army base in an all black gargoyle thing,
Ah.
jumped from the tree branch and hit. I lost it. Where is it? Jumped from the, and hit my windshield. I slammed brakes. It slid off. I hit the gas and ran over it. Ooh. Did you do any damage to your car?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know what? I've heard gargoyle stories in cemeteries. On one of the tours that I did in front of one of the stories, because I met someone who was on that specific tour. I wasn't. An entire tour of about 30 people watched a large being that looked like a gargoyle with wings scale the side of a 3-story house.
Ugh.
And I'm like, pictures? Anybody get pictures?
Yeah, that would be startling. I think they probably were like.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. So gargoyles are definitely a thing, and clearly, but it's kind of cool when people, who see them physically. I think it's like amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one for Bradley. Okay.
Bradley says, had a lady call me not too long ago from Inverness, Scotland. Stunning.
Oh,
She
it's
had
beautiful.
problems.
I love it.
She had problems with poltergeist activities and voices. Don't scroll up. At her son's home. Come to find out through research, the place dates back to the mid 1700s. It was a pub and rooming house where when the ones that worked on sailing ships stayed, but sometimes never leave and disappear. I've been invited to come investigate. You need to go. I'll go with you.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, I love Inverness.
I'll go with you.
Inverness is a very unique place. It's
tons of history.
You have to go through it to get to the Isle of Skye. It's very quiet. I mean, quiet. By the time like 8 or 9 o'clock at night they roll up the sidewalks. You're kind of like, but it's freaking beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's really haunted. I walk the streets. It sounds really bad. I walk the streets of Inverness at night.
The streets and the corners.
I did.
But honestly, you understand what she means, right?
Hi, Michael. Right?
Yeah. Michael's on with us.
Hey, Michael.
Michael, our colleague. Michael. He was on just before us.
That's right.
News.
That's right.
Joshua, question. Have you ever been to a castle that your family is connected to? I'll let Michelle take that one.
Well, I haven't. I've been to a lot of castles. I've not been to any that my family. I've had family who have been connected to castles in France, northern France. I haven't been to the specific town where it is, though. But I've been to a lot of haunted castles.
My family built cathedrals. I haven't been there yet either.
Yeah. And my family were nice. So they were part of the court and things like that. It was really interesting.
I have to check my mom's side with that whole Brown thing. But anyways, pretty cool. They hung people at the stables, which is now the graveyard across the from Dundurn. Yep.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. Like, it's so sad when they just start splitting things up. You go to Europe, you don't see that at all. Everything is very, very intact. They treat their history a lot different than we do here. Ghosts and all. They're very welcoming. They're very welcoming. It's just amazing, But again, you have to be respectful when you go to these places because these things know it. Bucket list is Edinburgh Vaults. I've done the Edinburgh Vaults.
Edinburgh. Scotsman would kill you with that. I say Edinburgh, and a friend of mine just like corrects me every single time. I'm like, I'm Canadian, right? I'm going to say it Edinburgh but it's Edinburgh. I love it. Yes, the vaults. Yeah,
the vaults are
all of Scotland is a bucket list for me.
The vaults are really interesting. They're in the old part of what was called the Royal Mile, and it was literally a square mile, and it's got a really sad story to it, and it's really, really, they're so haunted down there. It's unbelievable. I'd be surprised if you didn't have an experience. But as you come in and around that area and you start to look at some of the buildings, they're actually, if you look real close, they're made with human bones. All mixed in.
That was common then, wasn't it, though?
they would, I can't even tell you some of the stories that we found out. You know, they have a really great tour that we did, that were part of the vaults and part of the cemetery, and all within the Royal Mile. It's
Mhm.
I can't even believe people live that way, to be honest. You know, over the noon. Oh, hi, Christine. But yeah,
Bone
it's
Depot, Michael said.
Bone Depot.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
most
go
of
right
Europe
there,
is
right
like
there.
that, though.
Bone,
You have them in
yeah.
it's France or Paris that has the caves with all the skulls.
Well, you have the catacombs in
Catacombs,
Scotland. You
that's what I
have
was
them in
looking for that
Paris.
word. Yes.
There are different parts of the world that have them. What people have
Romania
to
has them as
remember.
well. I saw
Oh,
it today
there's
on
a bone
History Channel.
church as well,
Yes, I saw
right?
that today.
You have to realize something about Europe, that cities were built over top of ancient cities also. So it's not uncommon. You have miles and miles and miles of tunnels underground, or it's not uncommon to just, they excavate everywhere, because next thing you know, you're on top of a whole other building. And sometimes
History.
that building still goes way down.
Mhm.
It's like it's still completely a functional place. It's
Well,
it's
yeah,
insane.
it's huge history, right? You're
Oh,
learning so
it's
much with it, and
fascinating,
it's important.
fascinating.
It's very important. But I picked out a few clips on YouTube today while taking care of the little fur baby here. Um, and I saw some of that stuff, and I was watching. This is different. I was watching the different names
Right.
and for vampires, Dracula, Vlad, and what they call
Strigoi.
them in Romania, what they call them
Mhm.
in Brazil, and
Yeah.
how they're different, and where Nosferatu came from, and everything. And I was like, wow! But it
Mhm.
was too long because it was over an hour, and I didn't have the time. But I definitely want to see the rest of it, because you always think of Dracula as Hollywood Dracula,
Or Dracula, but
and
yes, Vlad Tepes is not, he's a real
no,
person.
that's a different story, but I'm saying the way Hollywood did it, just like Frankenstein and stuff
Of
like
course.
that.
Yeah.
But, I was so interested in seeing why they would put the stake through the heart and why they staked them in the coffins. To learn all of that was really, really it was really cool. I loved it. I could understand why they thought that they were either saints or demonics after death, because they assumed that the body would just disintegrate after it died. And when they would see the hair grow and the nails grow, they thought, "Oh, it's the devil's work. It's the devil's work." So they would
Mhm.
stake them in their heart because it was their core,
Mhm.
I was going to say in Italian, il corpo, but the body part and the heart, to hold them down so they
Mhm.
couldn't come back to life and walk, living dead.
Oh god, sometimes
So,
they would build entire, like, cages over top of
yes.
the entire.
Yes.
Wow, look
Hi,
at here.
Wayne.
Ooh,
Look
yeah.
who's here.
Who made it?
Wayne says, what I find interesting is that countries that are oceans apart from one another have
Mm,
such similarities when it comes down to the vampires. You would
100%.
know that, Mr. Writer of
That's
Vampire
right.
Tales, which is
Exactly.
right behind me, that picture.
Exactly.
We've got to give him a plug, Michelle. You got to give him a plug.
Yeah, well, you can only get, it's really hard. You'd almost have to contact me now, because he doesn't even have the website, and he's not on social media. But the
No.
Vampire Tales, gotta look that stuff up.
Oh
That
my
it's
gosh,
historical fiction, and
you've
I'm
never read
telling you,
anything like it, let me tell you. It's
no.
hard to put down, so start early.
Google it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. But
Wayne
you can
Mallows,
only get it here. That's it.
amazing series, and like I said,
Actually, we do. He
signed
did come
poster
on
right
the
behind me.
show. He did come on the show
Yes,
at one point. We almost have to do
when
it
we
again
started.
sometime. Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
yes.
Whole different cup of tea now, let me tell you what.
Oh,
But it's
wow,
true. I
what a
think a
great
lot of things are miles, oceans apart in similarities and vampires and other folklore. So here's something for you guys. What we know that, there are many interdimensional beings out there. We know that there are vampires. I mean, think about it.
Mhm.
Folklore stories start somewhere. I mean, of course, it's the fish that was this big that got this big. Of course, it's that sort of an idea. But where do the stories come from? Are these interdimensional beings? Because I've had researchers say for sure, hey, Jonathan, when
Hi,
it comes
Jonathan.
to vampires and even werewolves, that they are potentially alien races. So there's some food for thought. How do we know they're
Almost like
not
a cryptid.
interdimensional beings that come in? Because sometimes they go out and they're just like they're gone. They just
Well,
disappear.
I think sometimes if people looked back further and they researched Mothman, and you might see an earlier sighting if it had been recorded, they
Sure.
may feel the same way about Mothman, right? Because he
Well,
almost resembles, like a cross between a werewolf and that stature of a vampire or an
there's
oupir.
too many sightings. There's just too many sightings. So you just don't know that, you know, it's that's right, Tamara. Grain of truth within all legends. It starts
Thing,
somewhere.
every
It
story.
starts with a sighting somewhere, an experience. It's too many similarities from different parts of the world, oceans apart, miles apart, thousands of miles apart. There has to be something there. For us
Yep.
in the new world, a lot of this came with people immigrating here with their belief systems and their
True.
cultural folklore, their stories. But then we get here, and there's a whole other pile of stories that aren't that far off from our indigenous people.
No, especially all their spirit people and all their legends and stories are so real to me.
Yeah.
Also,
Mhm.
what we see a connection in overseas as well, since Wayne brought it up, is Hags. You have and the Lady in White.
Yeah.
There's another one, the Hags and the Lady in
Lady
White.
in
Any
White,
country you go
black-eyed
to,
children.
black-eyed children. Look at this. We're just like adding them up. I got goosebumps. I hate black-eyed children. When you said that, that is probably I feel for
The goat
black-eyed
man.
children what
You have
people are
Pan.
afraid of with clowns. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Black-eyed children freak the living daylights out of me
Right.
because I don't know enough about them. That's probably why. Maybe if I researched it more, I'd be a little bit more relaxed. But
Right.
oh, Joshua says Bigfoot usually shows up before or after UFO sightings. That I don't
Um,
remember. One of
you're
our
not
guests may have said it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I have read that on a couple of occasions, but again, so does Mothman, allegedly.
Yeah.
Christine says we have Goat Man here. You guys have Pan. We actually in the States, there is a Goat Man uh, on a bridge, something along those lines. I don't know why I'm drawing a brain tooth,
I've
but there is,
heard that.
yeah, there is a story that goes with that also. Don't get me started on hags.
They
They
love
love
me.
me.
They love me too.
I'm
And I
talking
ain't talking
grannies.
about grannies. They love me too, Jonathan. Just saying.
Well, let's talk
I've
about
had too many
hags.
experiences with Hags. Oh,
Hags, you're getting into the Hag Syndrome where people feel like they get the pressure on their chest while
no,
they
that I
sleep at
haven't
night,
had.
like a sleep paralysis. Some people attribute that to hags, paranormally speaking. Some people attributed that to abductions, sleep
Mhm.
paralysis. There's a lot of, it's all pretty much the same idea of what you're going through, but you're looking, three different explanations, and I'm sure there are more, but
Yeah.
hags are a thing, and they're
I
just
haven't had those
assholes.
experiences. I've had up close and personal. Lucky
Yeah.
me. Lucky me. But anyways, it's it's not something you want to go up against when you don't know what you're doing. That's all
Mhm.
I'm going to say. If you can run, you flippin' run and find someone who does know how to deal with it because you have to be strong and you have to be able to fight back.
Oh, see, black-eyed
Okay.
kids. Oh,
Chris,
look for those.
yeah. I just don't know. So Christine says when the black eyed kids looked at us, it was like they were scanning my brain, but I knew there was a lot of emotions at once. Christine, do you think that they are entities or do you believe that they are ET? The
Breath
breath
of
of
a
a hag.
hag.
Yes, thank you. That alone will send you back a few feet.
But yeah, the
Yeah.
black-eyed children, that's again, it's another theory that, some people believe they're interdimensional, other people just believe they're like demonic,
I
which
used
again to
to
me is interdimensional. But
I
I
used
don't
to make
know.
the joke that Men in Black had children with the women in black. It was just stupid because I couldn't deal with it. I had a lot of trouble when I first got into this and started learning about black-eyed children. I think because I've had nightmares as a child where children had no eyes. So to me, there's,
Black eyes. Yeah.
yeah, you don't see the eyes and I'm positive I still have drawings from when I was a child that of children without eyes. The ones we saw were hybrids walking past us,
being
being
paraded.
paraded. Actually,
So
really.
describe them then, hybrids.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, describe what you
And
know
being
what they look like.
paraded, why would they be paraded? I'm just curious. I'm not questioning you.
No,
I'm
I mean, we're
asking.
sharing stories here tonight.
Yeah.
So this is a new
Yeah,
one
I'm
for me.
loving
So yeah.
it so much. I really love talking to you guys. Yeah. Hag. I had to remove a hag in my father's home.
Okay, one second.
See,
Blah, blah,
here
blah. There we
on
go.
Earth.
Big
Okay, here on
Latter-day
Earth.
Saints gathering. One of those places. Just one of those
Latter-day Saints
places.
gathering, just one of the
Yes.
well, that sounds
Wow.
ET to me. I'm kidding. I don't know what it is. Bradley says on the East Coast here, folks see the ghost ship. I
Oh
want to see
yes.
that.
There's something else. Is that that's not the Dutchman. Dutchman shows up all over the place.
A lot in Cabo San
Lots of things.
Lucas. But
Mhm.
yes, so Bradley says on the East Coast here, folks see the ghost ship, but mostly on foggy nights. So
Yeah.
I'm using a fog machine in a location with a grid light, see if it works. I have a lighthouse 2 minutes away to try. Bradley, like I'm visiting, I'm just telling you, as soon as I can get over that sign, seriously,
No,
you
it's
sound like
true.
a lot of fun.
It is fascinating, and I think when you're near large bodies of water as well, and he's on the ocean,
Mhm.
I think it just amplifies. Hey, Sarah, it just amplifies energy. You know what I mean? It
Um,
just, yeah, it
yeah,
just
Sarah,
amplifies.
you got this, girls. Thank you, Sarah. Jonathan Silva
St. Lawrence is a
says,
ghost
"Oh,
ship.
Tamara said St.
Yeah,
Lawrence is the ghost ship."
yeah,
Thank
yeah, yeah.
you. That
There we
makes
go.
total sense since it starts there. It makes
Right.
sense. Jonathan Silva says, "I was walking near my street." I feel like I should do this in a different voice now. I was walking near my street. This young girl pointed at me and said to her mom, I almost said man, "Mommy, look who's that lady." The mom said, "No, honey, that's a man." The girl was freaked out and was looking right above my shoulder. They keep coming back, and my guides deal with them. By the way, Amelia, thanks for the recommendation of Midnight Mass. I really like. You're welcome.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a great show, Midnight Mass. Yep.
yeah.
It was only a few episodes, but it was so good. It really opened your eyes to different things. I think it's only 3 episodes.
Mm.
If you remember, Jonathan, let us know. I can't remember because I saw it a while back. Christine says we were at a big meeting. We were saying this is back to the black-eyed children. We were at a big meeting. We were standing back watching when these kids were walked past us and they stopped to talk to the people standing next to us, and it was on purpose. Baby, big head, black eyes, very powerful girl, about 7 years old, looked Asian, but her black eyes went further around across her face and pale skin, real life.
See, that sounds ET.
That to
That
me, I was just gonna say, and I
that
don't even know much
sounds
about that.
that sounds almost gray like ET, but those are lenses, right?
Oh wow, Jonathan, 7 episodes, 1 hour each. Did I do that? I think I did that in one day. Wow. Okay. I get in my funks and I go through those binges. And yeah, Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hey,
Millians.
Michelle.
Love her name.
Okay.
Millians.
So Joshua says when we were children, this lady in white would play with us and let us sing with her. Oh, with her.
Lady in
Okay.
White is such a big one.
Right.
Everywhere, no matter where you go. You know, I
Well,
heard stories of
everybody's
Lady
got
in
one.
White in Italy as well. Yes, it's
Everybody's
just
got one. This is one of the big things in the paranormal where people say, you know what, come on, everybody's got a lady in white.
yeah, but
It's just
we
a
all
thing.
have different fairy tales as well, and
Yeah.
most countries have demons, and why do they see them the same way if they didn't even know each other hundreds and
Mm.
hundreds of years ago?
It's any of these beings,
Yeah,
you know. I mean,
absolutely.
a gray is a gray, tall, short. So,
Yes.
you know. Hold on here. Here we go.
Bradley says we have the highest and lowest tides in the world and home to the world's second largest whirlpool, the original Black Pearl Lake form. The movie the movie is
Oh,
sunk here in St. Andrews Bay, 5 minutes away. Bradley, I'm really jealous.
I
Stop it.
love that. I love
Stop it.
that.
Stop
That's
it. Stop it.
Michael.
Michael
Michael,
says,
you should
when
be
I was,
on here with
you should
us.
be on. Just join us.
Yeah, you
That
don't
would
have
be
to be
good.
in
Can
chat.
you
You
do
just come
that?
on.
Just send it to him. When I was a young guy and when I was young, a guy in white would, if they're moving while I'm reading, I'm going to read it from here, would come down my street every night. He sold ice cream. Michael, you need to come on.
Yeah, that's
Jonathan Silva,
awesome.
why do you think hags keep attaching themselves to sensitive people? That's a question for Michelle. I don't know.
With the sensitive people, hags will attach to basically anything.
Anyone, right?
Yeah, I think sensitive people might pick up on them more. Sensitive people may or have that fear before someone who may not realize. So, if are you going with sensitive with abilities or sensitive as in like sensitive, emotionally sensitive? Either way,
Yeah,
it's like anything. It's your target.
that's just to go back on the story that I told you that I had this hag at my father's house. The first person who saw it was my great nephew, and he was only a few years old.
Right, there we go. Yeah, the
He asked
abilities.
me, Dia, what's that? Why is there a lady in the basement? And I just went, what? And I, put him upstairs and went down. But I always sensed something heavy in there, that feeling of doom when you go into a certain place. But it's gone.
Oh, hello from the world of Twitch. You are
Oh,
awesome. Thank you. Greetings
hello.
from Brazil. Thank you for
Good
joining
night,
us.
witches. Greetings from
Yeah.
Brazil. I wish I was a witch.
Yeah.
A witch I would be. Yeah.
I would never tell. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
God, I've never seen it, but
Yeah.
feel it very heavily. Be grateful you can't see it. And when you can smell it, you'd be really, it's intense.
Mhm.
It's intense. They're very strong, but I feel that if you hold your ground like anything,
Absolutely. I think again, when you're sensitive, you just, if you're, it depends. You can be
yeah,
sensitive and be pretty darn my childhood hocus pocus.
hocus pocus,
I love that show. One
little
of my
witchy poo.
favorites.
Yeah.
I think if you're sensitive, it doesn't mean that you're, you're easily frightened. But I think a lot
No.
of people, you just see it coming, you get on edge, and like any other malevolent entity, they will feed off that and take full advantage of it.
Hmm.
You're
I think what helped me was because I was so angry that it directed and showed itself to Luca that
mm,
anger just took over and I went at it and didn't stand down. I wasn't
mm,
like I couldn't. I was so upset.
right.
Like how dare you show yourself to him kind of thing. Like I've
Yeah,
been poking and prodding you for weeks and nothing.
mhm.
But
No,
I've smelt other stuff. Not
it's
sure if it was
true.
that copper wires burning and sulfur. Yeah, I'd say more on the sulfur side. It's really intense. It's almost like sulfur and manure. Just saying.
Mm. Well,
But
that's what alleged characteristics of demons per
yep.
se. So you have to understand, malevolent things cannot survive in a positive environment. It needs negativity to feed off of. This is why when they come into your space, they will get people arguing, they will pit people against one another. You find everything in your life goes wrong. They isolate you from the people who could love you and help you. This is what they do. They create
Hmm.
all of that because they feed off that energy. It makes them stronger. It makes you weaker. They don't let you eat. They don't let you sleep. It's raise your vibrations. Dance, live, love, laugh. You hear me say it all the time. Open some windows, go outside, ground, walk in nature, laugh a lot, watch a funny movie. Just raise the vibration, change the frequency. You'll find that it's just not that easy for them to survive. It's mindset.
Oh,
Acknowledgement is
absolutely.
empowerment. Acknowledge them, give it to them, give them that fear factor. They have you. Don't give it to them. Ultimately, you win. I've seen people clear their own houses just by communicating, where we communicate back and forth, and you just change the mindset. It really does work.
Gosh, I had to do my own house. The priest wouldn't.
Yeah, there you go, right? So,
Came
no,
into the entrance and, "Hey, I'll just hit the holy water from here." I'm like, "Don't you
no.
need to walk around the entire house?" "No." "Really?"
Yes,
So, I ended up doing it myself with my mother on the phone, just
there you
saying, and then
go.
another time my mother, we ended up doing it on our own.
Exactly.
John says, "Yes, I was very negative at that time, raised my vibrations since then, and the Hags don't come back anymore."
They
I
won't.
wouldn't even acknowledge them or talk about them, to be honest with you,
No.
especially at this,
Hello, I see you. Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
yeah,
I've had
I
things
see
come
you.
in and I've just like I
I'm
get
not dealing
I've
with
been
you.
growled at and I just,
Yeah.
I'm with by and I walk by and I just start laughing.
I've seen you
It's
scold them
like,
like children. Michelle will literally scold something malevolent like a child, and I'm just the first time I remember. Now it's different, I'm so used to her doing that, but the first time I was like, "Did you just" Yeah.
pretty
So,
much. Yeah. Pretty
yeah.
there's like miles of EVPs out there of me just, getting growled at and I'm just like, "Oh, is the baby having a bad day? That's
Yeah.
terrible." You know,
Just like a child. Oh,
I
it's so
just won't
funny.
give it to him. I just won't
Yeah.
give it to him. It's that simple. Or I get growled at and I start laughing. I'm like, I know,
But
it's
you know what you're
terrible.
doing because you have experience, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but
It doesn't mean
to a
that
point,
it
yeah.
doesn't make me nervous. It just means
No,
that I will not
she
empower
is the queen of the dark realm, not just the dark
it.
realm.
I just don't give it to him. And I have been really successful in dealing with them because of how I deal with them.
Yeah, exactly. And Bradley's got a great point. He said, "Don't feed a stray cat; it'll come back and or just stay. Protect your home, protect your family. Doing the paranormal stuff, you have to.
You
Yeah,
have to, exactly.
yeah."
Darling, it's the way to handle them. It is.
Absolutely. And
I
Christine, I hear myself talking to myself and then catching
the
myself
queen of
doing
the
it.
dark. Thank you, thank you. My head's gonna start going.
Yeah, it's
So
Queen of the Dark
yeah,
Realm.
yeah. And
Is it
we've
like that
got I hear
realm?
myself talking to myself and then catching. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I read that.
All right, sorry. I'm
It's
just
okay.
behind the fact. Somebody's
I'm
texting me. It's like,
sticking
are
to
you
my
kidding me right now? Because we
Oh,
don't know I
I
have a show to run, right?
since you said that, I just wanna put out there, I'm getting a few messages in Messenger. I am not checking those messages. If you're okay to wait, wait. If not, come into the chat room if it's part of the show because I can't change my page. Just letting you know because 'cause I'm seeing flashes, names who messaged me, and I can't respond.
We don't
So,
do
yeah.
messenger, guys. We have 8
No.
different places that you can
Coming into one
communicate with.
spot, and it's really hard to keep up when everybody starts
Yeah.
typing.
Yeah, there
So,
we
yes,
go.
please.
I
Yeah.
have a rule.
Well,
Lots
yes,
of
not
rules.
not giving them attention.
No, it's true. It's true. I
I
I I
believe that's
really
a
believe that.
standard. You can't do what you do, Bradley, and give it attention. You'll have all of them going home with you,
Yeah, it's
you
true.
know? And
It's true.
we do have some people who investigate and continually bring things home.
No, it's true. And again, it makes it really, really tough because sometimes even with a thought, next thing you know, it's like, oh, there's company. Or, I remember doing a box session at one time and some big growly thing came through and I got a little bit volatile as opposed to my being more bubbly about it. And it sat there in this growly voice and went, nice demon qualities. And I went, okay, switch back, switch back. I'm just having that kind of a day. But when a
Yeah.
demonic says, oh, nice demon qualities, you kind of got to go, what am I doing
It
wrong?
was trying to get to you though, and it did, right?
Well, no,
In
I
a
just sort of
sense, not
caught
in that
myself
way.
and
I
went,
mean, in
yeah,
the
no,
like it
yeah.
made you realize, yeah.
Well, sure. It's just like, oh, yay, one of us. No, not really. So, yeah, so I went back to scolding, and that was the end of the session.
Oh, that is just too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the fear I had of them before I met you. I was just dealing with serial killers and
Don't fear them.
abductors of a different kind. Not anymore,
Yeah,
not
don't fear
anymore,
them.
but I did before because I was unaware and not prepared and inexperienced. I didn't I mean, I
Mhm.
had my own demons to deal with in my life, but
Mhm.
it's one of those hindsight 2020 things, wasn't aware of it at the time. So
Mhm.
it's a little bit different, but when you're out there helping people, it's a whole other story. You
Right.
need to protect yourself. Hi, Zach. How was the
Hey,
game?
Zach.
Yeah, so
No, for
that's a
sure.
thing. That's a thing. Yeah, you have to be careful. Me too, Amelia. Kayla says Michelle empowered me. Yes,
Thank you.
she's good at that.
Thank you.
It's very important. And then once you have it set, and like Michelle says, your mindset is everything.
It really is. If you're a victim, if you really believe you're a victim, you're a victim. If you really believe that, you're the edge,
Yeah.
you have the edge, you do have the edge. You have control. You
Mhm.
you're a very powerful individual. We are very powerful individuals, and we have more control than most people would think. So,
Yes. Okay, and Christine says they are endless in trying, and it's an interesting game of tug of war, but I
mm,
grew pretty strong fast. Good for
I
you.
agree.
I
It
like
is like that.
I like Brad's comment. When I get growls, I say, "How dare you?" I get enough of that from my wife. How does your wife like that?
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
was cute. Um, so Jonathan asks, how do you suggest we develop our abilities beyond just guided meditation? Mindset is indeed everything.
Grounding helps. You got to do that first. Meditation is great. You know what? If you really want to learn how to do a lot, like really, really open your abilities, go join the Spiritualist Church of Canada. And it's not because you're in Canada. It's not what you think.
No,
It's not at all like that.
it's not a horror film.
They teach you how to use your abilities. If you're a natural healer, they'll teach you how to do that too. They teach you how to communicate. They're unbelievable. If you go again, you've heard me speak about Lilydale. They'll do a lot of courses there and classes, and you can dip your toe in the water a little bit and see what works best for you. But Canada, the head office for them is in Burlington. um, I've known a lot of people who have done it. I've sent people there who have come
There's one
back and
in
went,
Stoney
"Wow."
Creek.
Some of the best mediums that I've
No,
always
it's
recommended.
not like the Church of Midnight Mass. Sorry, Michelle. I just saw this comment. Great
I
show, but no.
I've recommended people to go there. I met John Holland there, and he's a medium that I respect a lot. And he goes there and he teaches and he's done events there. Some really amazing mediums have gone there. So just I don't know, something to give a whirl. Otherwise, if you want to do it on your own, then, you know, I don't recommend meditating until you master grounding.
No.
So that's pretty much how it goes.
Bradley's defending his comment now. He said she loves me. She's the best person to come into my life. Aw.
Oh, that's
Um,
nice.
absolutely. It's important, right? Joshua says, my friend saw a girl screaming and then she just appeared on him. Was the little girl a hag or mimic or what? No, not a hag. No. You know what? That could be anything because a little girl screaming and then disappearing can even be a residual, just traumatic event that you just happened to witness at that time. Or of course, it could be a mimic, right? Michelle?
Yeah, I'm just listening. No,
Yeah.
and mimics will often mimic children. They'll often, you know, because people, let's face it, if you're in an area that's haunted and it's a child, you don't feel threatened with
No.
children. People gravitate towards children on an average. They want to find out, communicate with them. Why are you here? How can I help you? That's a way in. You're inviting dialogue, and that's what they're waiting for.
And it also, what could be happening is that the little girl who, if her spirit is there, could be screaming to scare you off because she's afraid.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
So
we,
could be
you know,
either or.
I've been at locations where I've had children basically say, "Run, run, hurry, hurry! He's coming, he's coming." We catch that on voice recording. We've caught that just with the naked ear, and it's just like rush, he's coming, just they're trying to warn you, you know. So there's a lot of
Yeah, it's
there's a
not
lot of
always the
yeah.
worst. Like, it's not always the worst thing. It's not always demonic.
Mm. Well, it
Okay,
doesn't mean that
Bradley's
there's not one there.
no, I just want to just add to Jonathan's question, add to the answer. What I did is I found groups that were actually had integrity and worked with them. If you like to read pictures, photographs, or you want to work in that, there's a lot of credible ones out there. And also finding mentors in different strengths of what they do, whether it's sight, sound, whatever it is, touch, any of it, you find them and you can work with all of them. At one point I had 7 mentors. That's quite a bit, because one was an incredible medium, another one was a psychic, another one, it was, what's that called? I do it too. When you're touching, what is it? Ography. Oh my gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, it's a gift where you can touch something and feel the vibration and the whole story comes in front of you. That's it. I can never remember the word, but I do have that ability, but I had to learn how to read it. So you can, if you have people around you that have different strengths, see if they don't mind mentoring you as well. Bradley says, here's one for you. I got 2 members that believe when you die, that is it. But then they go into an investigation with me looking for the opposite of what they believe. Still scratching my head on that one. Yeah, I keep scratching.
I think it's because people, whether you believe or not, I really think people they look for answers. When it comes to mortality or immortality, you never stop searching. I think it's got to be a pretty uninteresting existence to think that there's nothing after the physical stops being. It's almost as though you're not giving any merit to your essence. The essence is energy; it moves on. So I've dealt with people who were diehard skeptics, atheists, and crossed over atheists who were just confused and didn't know what to do. And you run into them, and it's like, the first atheist I ever met in the spirit realm, I think I'd only been researching about 3 years. And, back then it was sort of like, well, you don't want to go on. You don't think that there's anything there. And it was a struggle to be able to convince him to go, because he kept seeing the light and it just scared him. He didn't know what it was. He didn't believe in it. So what do you do, So
I like Tamara's comment. Once you have heard the voice in the dark, it's hard to think there's nothing after death.
I agree. But some people will tell you that it's residual. Some people
or it's
will
outside.
tell you, interdimensional. There's all kinds of different stuff, that goes with that. So I found when he was on Paltalk, good vibes. Yeah, Joe's a sweetie.
I think he's still there.
Joe's listening.
Joe's still there.
Yeah, his whole imaginary chat room that we're all like, what are you talking to?
Like, what? Really? It's not there because you don't share it with us.
I know. It's just
No
like, who
way.
the hell are you talking to?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I think that people always search for what's going on in the afterlife. I don't think it's that cut and dry.
One of my best friends, Jonathan Silva again, one of my best friends is a descendant of the Ascended Masters. I opened his eyes to the paranormal spirituality. I taught him how to ground and clear his chakras. He now helps me in my journey. Very nice.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. That's what I mean by, mentoring back and forth. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But that's what, you're dealing with like-minded people also, when you are, this is what I'm saying. I think Halloween, this is a time of year where people think more about the spirit realm, even though it's there all the time and they leave you signs all the time. It's just a living that fail to recognize those signs. Okay. The example I always use is, let's say you have a glass on the table, you go to work, you come back, let's say the glass is moved. will you slow down long enough to look at the glass and say, that's not where I left it? Or are we so busy in our lives that you come home, you look at it and go, oh, yeah, I forgot the glass on the table. They do leave signs. The living just fail to pay attention. So, what is it about October and all the hype that makes people throw caution to the wind or want to know more and just want to participate in it and be a part of it? Halloween wasn't even a thing on this side of the world up until like the friggin' 1800s,
Mm.
Like it really wasn't. It was
And
something that came over and became this huge commercialized thing, like
mhm.
it wasn't. It all started with the pagans people, like it's
And the
just a whole
Celtics.
other thing.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go over to our Facebook page on the Outer Realm, you'll see that I have posted a collection of photographs of costumes from the early 1800s.
Mm.
And you'll find that because I shared one with a friend today and she's like, that is so creepy. I said, hold on, let me give you the background story. You'll see children dressed creepy and everybody dressed creepy because they believed that the dead came out at night and they
Mm.
wanted to blend in with them
That's
so
right.
that they wouldn't be sought out and nothing would happen to them. That's why they dressed their children. They weren't dressed as princesses back then. They were dressed as
To
skeletons.
blend.
They had things, yes, to blend in with the
Hmm.
walking and the living dead. So
Hmm.
it's quite interesting. Once you have that perspective and you look at it, it's a different view when you're looking at these photographs. So if you're interested, go onto the Outer Realm Facebook page, not right now because you're listening. Go onto the
That's
18,
true.
yes, and check out the collection. I have some from this year and some from last year, but there's a lot of things there as well. And what is more important? Let me do the station ID, and then I want to bring in a little bit about Hallows Eve because I don't think everybody understands that it
Mm.
starts on the 30th and it actually ends on November 1st. So I just want to give out our quick station ID. You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and myself, Amelia Pisano. We are broadcasting live from the gorgeous city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM radio, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, a million different pages, and Twitch, UFO Paranormal Radio, International Public Radio, UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials Radio, and I'm cutting it there. Our intro and outro is from the amazing, talented, and award-winning composer, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker. You can find him on Bandcamp and Amazon, on Facebook, on Instagram. I believe he's also on Twitter. He has amazing Halloween music. If you don't have your Halloween music yet, you need to check him out. It's all original. You'd be the different one in the neighborhood. Think about that with all those creepy songs and all that amazing music. You can listen to that all year, by the way, just saying. But, and of course, we want to thank who was with us from the start, but Folgers Coffee. You guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting our shows every single week. Thank you so much.
Here
And
we go.
now,
Oh, continue on.
Samhain. Well, I'd like you to explain for everyone listening, because I think there's such a misunderstanding that Hallows Eve is such an important day.
It is. It's Devil's Night. Woo!
Yeah.
No. No, actually, I think the holiday, I won't even say a holiday. It really is a way of life for everybody. But you have to understand, this started with the pagans, okay? And it was all about celebrating your harvest and, celebrating in hopes that the spring would bring forward more good harvests. And they would have a sacred fire and they would go back home that night and take that that piece of sacred fire. Everybody took a little bit of that, burned it in their hearths to keep everything safe. They believed that everything came out at night and that the dead would come and they would try to interact. They would try to find their way in. But then you had those cultures who believed that the dead would come back. They would set places at the table. They welcomed the dead. And this went on from the 30th all the way November 1st. Sometimes it went to November 2nd. Some cultures went all the way to the middle of November. So this is a cultural thing. That's all it is. This is cultural.
Hi, Marissa.
Oh, what
Yeah,
am I making
it's
everybody?
it's
Spiced
really
buns,
important.
whatever it is, I like it. Spiced buns, okay. Hi, Marisol. Yeah. Christy's like spiced buns. All right.
Oh my goodness. Can
So
we, since we've covered all this other stuff, can we quickly speak pop culture?
yeah, do it, do it, do it.
Yay.
Sounds like
Okay,
fun.
films, favorite horror films. Now, again, on our Facebook page, I believe it was on mine as well. I listed, they only had so many horror films there. What type of horror film is your favorite horror film? Is it sci-fi? They didn't have fantasy, which it should have been there. They had criminal, which I don't see it that way. They also had slasher and gore, which I can't stand.
Yeah, I love
Okay, so
those.
Elm
Yeah.
Street. Yes, that was one of the big ones as a teenager, wasn't it? Michelle
Mm-hmm.
and I have a common favorite, The Entity from way back, and it's
This
based on
sounds
a
like
true story.
shows. Yeah, that's true.
I love that film, and just it was so compelling. What she went through was horrifying, just
Mhm.
horrifying, and not in the sense that you think, because she was actually raped by several ghosts, several spirits, and it was documented. Was it Pennsylvania University? I can't remember who it
I
was.
believe it was, yeah, and it was a an incubus.
Yes, it was so horrifying to watch.
Yeah, it
Um,
really
it
is.
was terrifying, right, Marissa? And they have actual footage within the film, so it is worth watching if you can find it. And not the new Entity. We're talking Entity. What's her name? Was it Barbara Hershey?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to Google it and look for it. You might be able to get it on YouTube, I
It was
believe,
so well done. It was ahead
and
of its time, you
way
know?
back in the 80s.
Yeah. But
So
I'm a big fan of The Right. I'm a big
I was
fan
just
of
gonna say
The Right was
yes.
really well done.
And you'll hear from our
Exorcism of
friend,
Emily Rose was well
yeah,
done.
you'll hear from our friend Bishop James Long
Yeah.
says that the rite is the most accurate, and he is an exorcist with
Mhm.
the old Catholic Church, is the most accurate to what actually goes on with exorcism and how it takes place and what you have to do to prepare before and after.
Mhm.
So the rite is really great that way, and it is based on a true story. It's not too much fiction in there, and Anthony Hopkins, anything he's in, I'm going to watch, just saying, but
Mhm.
yeah, he just did a phenomenal job with that role. That film was incredible. I personally don't like slasher films.
I'm not big on it at all either,
No.
but I like the suspense of it. Like, um, Nightmare on Elm Street was good. The Evil Dead was kind of like the original Evil Dead for me was just freaking crazy because again, it's a
Yeah.
freaking stuff in the forest under the ground.
It's that
And
kind
like
of
just
creepiness, right? Like Cabin in the Woods, it's kind of corny, but
yeah,
and it's that kind of like
for that fear
summer camp
factor.
summer
Yeah.
camp film, but it's
Mm.
good. Not summer camp, campy film, but it's good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I also I said this to you last week or the week before.
Mm.
I said, Michelle, you have to make time to watch the remake of Carrie. Why? Because it's better than the first one. And you heard that from me, and I will
And
not
you don't
stand
usually
down.
see that. The second ones usually aren't really
And I
better than the
loved
original.
the remake of Amityville, though, with Ryan Reynolds. I thought it was fantastic because we had an opportunity to, with the what happened in the 70s and the 80s, with all the restrictions are
Mm.
lifted now. We have different ratings. We can go a little bit beyond restricted plus 18 plus, or 21 plus, so they can add more to the story. And I love the remake of Amityville. I do love the original, don't get me wrong, but I have to tell you, when it comes to Carrie, the second one is better than the first. The story is all about Carrie and her
Mhm.
mother, so you get to understand more of what she really was.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just
John.
wanted to address this because you know
Yep.
how sometimes people will say don't watch like horror movies because it can bring something in and people go, "Oh, that's ridiculous. It's not going to happen from just a movie." But this is a
Yeah,
good point.
actually, it does.
Yeah.
Jonathan Silva writes, I watched so many demonic movies around the time of my issues with them. I think they amped each other up. The entities influenced me to watch it, and the movies amplified their energy and made me scared, which they fed off of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Great,
think
great
that's
thing to contribute. Thank you.
yeah, I think that's part of it right there. Is not so much um it's not so much that a horror movie can cause things like that. Again, it all comes back to mindset. Your
Why are
frame
you
of mind.
watching it? Why are
Big
you
old
watching it?
vicious cycle.
And the
Yeah.
one thing I told you that gave me the most fear wasn't actually a film. It was actually a documentary
Yeah.
on the haunting of Connecticut. The
I saw the
documentary was
same
better
one.
than the movie.
It actually was better than the movie. I
Yes.
think the problem is with films, you start getting into, I always say they get, Hollywoodized because it's about the fear factor. It's about drawing in the
CG.
crowds. So everything gets embellished. But
Yeah.
if you've not seen the documentary Haunting in Connecticut, you really should watch it because it is so well done and it really makes you like, it's not exaggerated. It's really
No, like
not
the
like
films, no.
they participated.
None of that stuff happened in the movie with the eyelids and the bodies in the walls. That didn't happen.
No.
But just the demonic presence that they present in the documentary was enough to me to be afraid to go to sleep, which never happens. Not even with
Mhm.
the entity did that happen.
Yeah.
So, this is me who goes to horror films with my friends to
Mhm.
laugh, okay? Because I find them so silly. But, everybody's different. It's I see more than other people, so they're going to be a little bit funnier for me. Sixth Sense, I loved Sixth Sense. That was suspenseful, criminal. It was horror. It was all about mediumship, spirituality. It was a fabulous,
Well,
fabulous story. I wouldn't say it's like a great film, but it was a fabulous story.
here's one that wasn't scary, but if you want to watch something based on spirits that's really, really well done, go and watch the movie The Others with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
That was a
Phenomenal
phenomenal
movie.
film.
It
Yeah.
was so well done
Yes.
that you don't even realize, I don't want to give it away because it was just
No.
amazing.
No,
And
and
partway in, you're like, what?
right? And just
Yeah.
like Sixth Sense,
Yeah.
you have to, and if you
Yeah.
watching The Others, or if you want to see the documentary on The Haunting of Connecticut, on the other side is The Haunting in Georgia, which is completely different from the movie as
Yeah.
well.
And it was
Really well done.
phenomenal. It was
Buy the
really well
DVD.
done.
If you can find the
Yeah.
DVD, buy it, because I
Yeah.
guarantee you will watch it over and over
Mhm.
again, because I learn something every time I watch it.
Mhm.
And then it reminds me of something, or it teaches me something. Yeah, Nicole Kidman is phenomenal in that
Mhm.
film, but that film, you don't see it coming. That's all I'm going to say, because you can't say much about that movie without giving away the plot.
Mhm.
And
That's true.
now I want to watch it again. I
No,
love
it
that
was a
film.
fantastic movie.
Yeah.
And you'll watch it the first time, you'll catch what's actually going on, and then you will watch it again. I own it.
Mhm.
I actually own it because
Yeah,
it
so do
was
I.
just like,
I
you
also
know,
own The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and the reason why I own it is not because of the demonic stuff in the film, but because I love the courtroom and how they proceeded against the church. I found it so interesting. That was,
mm,
for me, seeing a defense attorney who, it's based on her story. It's her perspective, and the priest later, but it's her perspective. She handed everything over to a friend who was an author. So
mm,
when you see someone who claims to be an atheist and defends these serial killers and some pretty nasty people with probably have a lot of attachments, and you see
mhm.
her side of the story, it's just so interesting. And then you have that little bit of fear factor going on with the whole demon thing, and then hearing all
That's
of
what it
that.
is.
Yeah, the right was very well done. But yeah, I have to agree with Michelle. The Others is unexpected and phenomenal.
Mhm.
It gives you everything. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it makes you afraid. Yeah, it's
Uh,
phenomenal. And it's very comforting as well.
it is. It is. It gives you a degree of hope. You know how I don't want to give it away, but
No, it's such a
Bradley, you're
great
talking about
film.
the Enfield poltergeist.
Yes.
I believe that's what you're talking about. I've seen it.
It got a
BBC
lot of
just
that. I
does
never
things like
saw it.
monitor it. Yeah.
I never saw that.
Mhm.
I can't watch things like that. I'm not one who can watch investigation shows. And I'm not putting them
Mm.
down, because I learned a lot from some of the shows, like what an EVP was, the basic stuff. I think it's okay.
No, I agree. No, I agree. You
Yeah.
do. It do. I
Yeah.
thought it was really well done.
Just don't be a couch investigator out in the real world. That's all I want to say. Joshua says the only documentary I have only been scared of was the one that the entire town disappeared because ET something happened, and that scared me. Yeah, because it's the fear of the unknown, right, Joshua? For me, anyways. with ETs. It's the fear of the unknown. Which film is that?
Yeah, the documentary talking about the film. You're talking about the town in near the Yukon or the Northwest Territories up in Canada, or which is the other one?
Or is that The Fourth Kind? He's talking about my favorite.
The Fourth Kind.
The Fourth Kind is they were all being abducted.
Yeah, the documentary. It wasn't the movie. So the documentary. There was a documentary that spoke about an entire Inuit town that disappeared, and it was creepy. All the stuff that they had there. Okay, there's one in the U.S. Oh, Roanoke.
Oh,
no, that
okay.
Roanoke wasn't ET. Okay, you have to refresh me on that one. I'm not.
I don't know
I'm drawing a blank
one
with that
is.
one.
No, I don't know what
Yeah.
that is.
He doesn't remember either. Well, no, Fourth Kind Alaska is not a documentary though. But it was. But you guys got to be watching the Fourth Kind.
I could see why you would think it. Oh, I still believe it's real. They keep telling me it's not, but I don't care. Yeah. I still think there is, like an urban legend, there is so much truth. Yes, Wayne, with the owls. Thank you, brother. Just saying.
But you know what? Here's I got more calls and emails when Paranormal Activity came out. Now, the first one,
I hated that film.
Was better than all of them, and it was done on a $30,000 budget. It was low budget, but it was good.
You thought it was real. You thought it was real.
That's just thing. People kept messaging me, asking me about it, and I said, the story itself is not real. However, the different stages of a demonic infestation was real. It's basically all about, from start to finish. They played with the Ouija board, things that are going on. It's the invitation, it's the oppression, it's the infestation. It was really, really well done. Well done enough that honestly, people are like, oh my God, is this real? Where is this? I'm like, no, it's not real.
It hard because that was the first time, other than Blair Witch, that you saw a movie with a person behind the camera and them interacting. That's right. It was perfect timing on their end. They were out at the right time, and the story was good. After that, like most movies, it just went downhill. It's a really good film, and it was better after the first three. Was Rings, just the word Rings, not The Ring, but it's the same base story. But where they go, whenever they go back and it becomes almost like a prequel within a sequel, it always turns out better. Rings itself, she investigates the source and Samara, what happened to her and why she was doing what she was doing.
Right.
To sort of end it. And it was such an incredible film. I was really surprised.
Right.
I usually don't like movies like that, The Grudge, things like that. They're not my pick. There could be nothing on television. I'll watch the Weather Channel instead of watching a movie like
with
that.
Substance.
It has to have a history.
It has to have something like to make me think, to go, well,
even
that could happen. It's possible.
Yeah, even if it's not real, just the possibility that this could still happen, or that it's based on something historical is so intriguing.
I'll tell you another show that freaking got me going. Really,
there's not many for her.
It's kind of a horror movie, but it's hello, Starling.
Hi, Starling.
Athens, Georgia.
Love Georgia. Welcome. Just saying, welcome, my beautiful peach. Love Georgia.
The movie The Cave. Have you watched The Cave? I'm sorry. What the freaking hell were those things down there? It's like,
I don't know, but it was like
it reminded me As Above, So Below. Freaking stuff down there that was just like,
and you have to watch it twice. The Cave is something that you have to actually go back, right?
Oh yeah,
you have to actually go back and watch it.
Yeah,
there's just I just don't like films that you're watching this all the time. I hate it. That's why I never made it through. I never made it through Blair Witch because of that. But I will tell you,
The Descent. That's what it was. Sorry,
The Descent. Yeah, I knew what you were talking about when they go down into the water.
Because you're a compadre, you automatically know what I'm talking about.
Finish each other's sentences like an old married couple. Just saying.
I know.
It's so funny because someone said to me, like sometimes I hear you guys interrupt each other. I go, no, we're finishing each other's sentence. There's a difference. There's a difference. It's just because we talk every day because of work and that. But yeah, I love The Descent, but I feel that you have to watch it.
Yeah.
I love the story of the Bell Witch because it is real.
An American Haunting.
The
The Bell Witch was said to be the very first documented poltergeist case in the United States, with the story of John Bell. And it was put in a film called An American Haunting. And if you haven't seen it, I love Donald Sutherland, so I really like the movie. But it was really, really well done, and it's called An American Haunting. You guys could probably find it everywhere now because
I think it's on Prime right now. I think it's on Prime.
Joshua, I know it was in Canada. I know it. I know.
Yeah.
I know the exact town you're talking about, where the dogs were frozen in the ground, but everything only inches away from food, literally, and everything there was
torture.
But the thing is that everything was still going on. Right. See, there we go. That's right. I mean, there were fires there. There was food. It's like they were just there. And a neighboring town had actually reported seeing lights in the sky above that town. Right? Right, Joshua? Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. I know it. And Bradley says, like Annabelle. Nothing's like the real Annabelle. She's interesting.
And Michelle's met her.
She's very interesting. We'll leave that right there. But yeah, and she looks a lot more harmless than the other one. I remember John Sutherland mostly from Invasion of Body Snatchers. I know, it was another good one too.
The Mystery of the Missing Village, west coast of Vancouver Island. Was it there?
No. This was up in northern Canada. Like it was an Inuit village. We actually covered it on the Gray Zone. Joe and I talked about this on the Gray Zone Uncensored, which is coming back with number 6, by the way, people. We've had to take a bit of a hiatus, a lot of stuff going on, but we actually spoke about that case when we did our disclosure series. We probably went about 6 to 8 weeks on disclosure, post disclosure, and it's a fascinating story, and there was a documentary done about it.
Is it Angakuni Lake?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Angakuni Village, Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
What happened to the Inuit village?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Manitoba.
Northern.
Reported there was a newsman in Manitoba reported the existence of a small Inuit village right off Lake Angakuni. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
Right, Tamara. It's a freaky thing. Like, it's believed that people may have inhabited the village afterwards, but the original people and the way it was left and how the neighboring village could see the lights in the sky, to me was just like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Jonathan, hold on.
I'm gonna
Here it is.
Put that on our page.
You don't have to copy and post it. There it is, right there.
Paranormal Activity was based on a true story. The actual footage is not real, but an element, even 1%, was based on a true story. That's why people thought it was real, due to the marketing of a true story.
Well, it's so hard to say, based on a true story, because that is all the typical.
I was just going to say hauntings, right?
Genuine demonic haunting or oppression infestation is pretty much going to go with that. And there's usually always 2 endings, which is why they show 2 endings. One, usually if it's an actual case, like a real case, believe me, there's less out there than people think. The person will either commit suicide, because you get into possession. Possession doesn't happen that often. So they'll either commit suicide. It has to end with a life, whether it's your life or whether you take the life of another. So you see, they had 2 endings. One was deemed a suicide, and the other one, she just sort of went missing, but killed the person that she was with. I don't remember the stories, like way back.
I didn't watch past the first one.
I couldn't even get into watching them all. It
was like watching YouTube videos. Go over it
again. We actually
the village. Yeah,
we actually can get back into it. We have a lot of really good good stuff coming up on Grey Zone. But we could probably touch on it again. We can do some recaps on some of the favorites for the show, but that was one of mine. Actually, I really, really, really enjoyed researching it. It was just an amazing. It's one of those things that leave you going, wow,
Yeah.
for real, for real.
Wayne says the movie The Thing terrified me in my younger days. They have a remake of that as well.
Everything
there.
gets remade. Nobody's
But
got
I don't know how that
for
is
the
because I
ideas
can't. I don't
anymore.
think I watched it. I don't know if it was good. Yeah, but
Mhm.
Carrie remake. Oh my God, so much better than the first one. Just saying, just so much better.
Sometimes they do.
I like it
sometimes
because
not
they
so
pull the
much.
story out all about her and her abilities and more about that and the
Mm,
naivete between the two of them because of the Christian faith, how
mm.
strong it's just it goes in deeper. That's why I
Right,
think I like it, you know,
right,
that
right,
sort of investigator detective mind. I just love that it gives more substance to
right.
why is she just doing this, you know?
See, there's one thing about this time of year, which is what I love, is it is the movies. It is watching. Like right now, if you look on DirecTV, you've got all the different paranormal programs, but not enough of the older or this horror movies. I love that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like having Christmas movies at Christmas. It's like Halloween movies. You just want to, and I don't mean
Yeah.
Halloween all the time. It's just like a
No,
15
it's
freaking
nice at that
Halloweens.
time.
I know. It's just, I love it. It's all part of the allure. But, you know, it's just, I think people just have to stay home and watch movies.
Yeah. I
it,
love
because we're really busy. It just keeps
absolutely.
coming up.
Watch Legend of Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. It was
That's a great movie.
so
Ooh, The
good.
Ninth
So good.
Gate.
Ninth Gate was, you have to
Ninth
be ready for the Ninth Gate though. I'm just
Ninth
saying, because
Gate. Watch
if you're
that
one
one,
of those
guys.
people that watches a movie, I have a friend who will
Yeah.
not watch a horror film past a certain time
Mhm.
because she lives
I
alone
know
and she
people like
can't
that.
handle it. Then she has to watch something else. And I have a friend who will watch like a Garfield cartoon after. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
But
why ruin
anyways,
it?
why kill it? So she'll
Oh,
watch
no.
them during the day. So we used to go watch horror films at the theater during the day on her day off,
Right.
the afternoons. But anyways, I lost my point.
Well, then. Yeah.
Oh, but Legend of Sleepy Hollow is really, really, really excellent film. And if you're looking for a family story, everybody knows Beetlejuice, right?
Right?
Yeah,
I
The
know.
Entity was a really good one, right, April?
Yeah, we
Oh
talked
my
about
God,
that one. It
that
was phenomenal.
Zach talks about
Yeah.
the It films. I'm not into the clown films, but I agree it was really well done. Again, because we have more liberties in filmmaking and less restrictions.
Mhm.
So, and then the CGIs and all that stuff really adds to the film.
Right.
There's another one that I love that was really, I don't like Rosemary's Baby, just saying. I do love the remake of The Omen. I actually liked it.
That was a good series.
That was really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it was really good. I love
Mhm.
the remake. I love Julia Stiles as his mom, and
Mhm.
they just went a little step further with it.
Mhm.
Beetlejuice is a fun family film. You know,
Right.
it's right up there with Elf for Christmas. It's something you can't miss if you have
Mm.
kids. And you know what my great niece and nephew absolutely love? And I have it over there, is Ghostbusters. Now the new one came out. So we'll see what happens. We don't have Econ anymore. So
No. No,
yeah,
no,
he
no,
passed
no.
away sadly, but it's a different type of story.
See, for
Zach,
Halloween, for some of us, it's just kind of like Christmas.
for
So,
Michelle, she's talking for she's actually saying it's her Christmas, and that's okay. I love black Christmas trees or Halloween trees that look like Christmas.
mhm.
I love them. They have a lot of them out for sale right now. Haunting
My
of Hill
cat
House
petting in the
was great.
picture.
Yes, it
That
was.
was actually really well done.
That was good. Haunting of
Putting under the
Bly
chair.
Manor was
Oh,
good. Yes.
yeah.
Those are series that, yeah.
Paranorman.
Paranorman was so
Oh
much
my gosh.
fun.
I
Thank you,
used to get
Tamara.
a lot of invites from different, I guess, production companies. Lionsgate would send me stuff, and they sent me tickets and asked me to go see Paranorman. And I was like, what is
Yeah.
that?
Oh, it
Paranorman.
was so
So I got to bring like 3 people with me, and we went and saw it. Honestly, it
Yep.
was the freaking best show.
I
I
loved it.
loved it. I did. And
I
Monster House. I like Monster House was
Monster,
good.
oh my God, Monster
That
Inc.
was a good
Yeah,
one.
excellent,
Yeah.
excellent film. Paranorman, what I
Hotel
loved about
Transylvania.
Paranorman, I love
I own it.
Paranorman because if you have a child who is gifted,
Yeah,
it
it's perfect.
helps them. It's a perfect film because
It is.
that's what
Yeah.
he is, a gifted child, and it's just
Yeah.
normal for him. I
Honest.
loved it. I remember watching it the first time with my daughter saying, I wish this was around when I was younger,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, Monster
Monster House is
Inc.
good.
Yeah.
I did some, I can't remember the name of the TV show that I did, but they did different I guess reviews. I got to do that was one of the ones. I'd done a couple of shows doing reviews on a couple of horror movies, and one was Monster House. And I'm thinking, it was really well done. My niece was
Mhm.
terrified of it, but
Was she? Yeah.
the house that
I
she hated
liked
that thing.
I liked the one with oh my gosh. The Disney one, Haunted House?
Oh, my Haunted Mansion. That was
Mansion, that's
awesome.
it.
The
I
Haunted
loved
Mansion. That
it.
was really well
Like,
done.
now we're going down children's films. They're actually they're better
It's
made
true.
than some of the adult
It's
ones.
true. Honestly, so we're going from spooky movies to like funny spooky movies. But you
But
know what?
Haunted House is a little creepy. I
Yeah.
think you have to be maybe,
Frank and
11 and up.
Weenie. It was awesome.
Frankenweenie was so funny.
It was.
It
It
was
was good.
so funny. You know what?
It was. It was good. Mm,
Yeah, I'm glad that they're making more for children. Like, of course,
mhm.
every Addams Family out there I've seen 100 times plus.
Right.
Just saying.
I know.
Cousin It.
Same.
Yeah.
But you know what? It comes down to the fact that Halloween, October, it is a really special time of the year. And we've touched on so many different things. And it goes to show you, we've gone from really dark stuff, mid, all the way into, we're having a good time. There's so many different things that you can do. And I get the allure of wanting to go out and experience. Everybody wants to just experience something, even just once, and they want to just you want to lose yourself in it. Just be smart about it. That's all. Because honestly, I've been doing this 18 going on 19 years, and I've gotten so many calls from people or messages after Halloween because they did not expect company afterwards. And sometimes it's good company, sometimes not so good company. So I don't know. What do I do on Halloween? I watch movies. Gone are the
Eat
days.
lots
I
of
mean,
candy.
we're in different times. So I'm not filming, right now. And I'm having fun doing radio. But, I used to be busy with paranormal stuff right up until Christmas. Not kidding. So it's not just an October thing. It's something that goes on and on and on. And if you really have to go to that crazy haunted place, maybe wait. The mindset's a bit different, and you're not with another 50 people who have the same mindset. Now you've got this whole group energy thing going on,
Yeah,
and it's
collective.
not always going to
Fear
end well.
collective. A fear collective. That's great.
Yeah, well, we go if we go.
You
All
know how
right, it's a
angry
party.
moms
Let's do it.
protest get? That's what
Yeah,
happens when you have a bunch of people who fear and you're in a haunted location. Think of
that's
that
it.
energy. She's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And with that being said, peeps, we are at the end of the show. I know. I can't believe it went by so quick. Honestly, I love these Q&As. I love
I do
jamming
too.
with you guys because, we get this whole dialogue thing going, and we end up having so much fun. But it is the end of the segment.
Just say one
And
thing.
we thank all of you guys for being in chat and interacting with us. And so all of our listeners from around the world are listening in and maybe watching also. And, it was really informative and it was a lot of fun. So thanks to all you guys, because you're almost like guests
Mhm.
tonight. And, thank you to Joe, he's back there somewhere. Huge thank you to Folgers for sponsoring us. Huge thank you to Dr. Snick. aka Justin Sticker. And head on over to YouTube, guys. Go on over to UFO Paranormal, International Public Radio, UFO Gods and Paranormal. Just, click a subscribe so you get to see us. Head on over to Outer Realm Facebook. Love us up there. If you want to drop us a line, outerrealmcontact@gmail.com. Nice and easy. The outerrealmcontact@gmail.com. Next week brings 2 more brand new guests to the show. We have Constance Victoria Briggs, who has been waiting months to be on the show with us, just saying. And she'll be discussing the moon and extraterrestrials. We all know there's something going on with that moon. And hopefully she's going to fill in the blanks. And Thursday night welcomes Leslie Mitchell Clark. And she's going to be discussing hypnotherapy and dealing with people who have had extraterrestrial experiences. It's all going to be a lot of fun. So this weekend, guys, Halloween, y'all behave, but have fun. Ground yourselves. Don't get into any trouble, but really enjoy the moment. And we're going to have a Halloween party. I think it's on Sunday. Don't know for sure. You're going to have to check our Facebook pages. But the network is going to have a Halloween party show, and you're going to see a lot of the hosts on there. When we did the New Year's Eve one, oh my God, we had so much fun. It was such a blast. And it went on and on and on. It's totally raw. It's totally uncut. Get in there and chat, participate, and ask questions, share stories, give comments, and let's have lots of fun. So tune in for that. So with that being said, like I said, y'all best behave. Good night.